Hey everyone, welcome back to Not So Complicated. And today we'll be talking about arterial blood gas analysis in a very simple flowchart to uncomplicate this headache of medical science. Alright, so let's begin without any further delay. So, the first step you have to do is to evaluate the pH value of the blood, isn't it? So, we have to categorize the condition of the body in either acidic condition or alkalosis condition, isn't it? So, acidosis or alkalosis. So, how do we do that? Is to evaluate the pH value of the blood first. So, the normal range is 7.35 to 7.45. So if it is a case of less than 7.35 pH, then it is obviously acidosis. Or if it is a case of greater than 7.45, then it is obviously the case of alkalosis. This is very clear up to here. Now what I want you to do is to note down these two different things. The first one is, if it is about carbon dioxide, we obviously exhale carbon dioxide, isn't it? So it is a respiratory component. If it is carbon dioxide or partial pressure of carbon dioxide, it is a respiratory component. And if it is bicarbonate ion or HCO3 minus ion, it is a metabolic component. Now, on this basis, we will categorize acidosis and alkalosis into different formats. Now, let's talk about it. So, acidosis is less than 7.35 pH, isn't it? So, either there is increase in acidic component of the in the body, or there is decrease in basic component in the body, isn't it? So CO2 is obviously acidic, we all know that. If there is increase in partial pressure of carbon dioxide, then there can be acidosis. Or if there is decrease in bicarbonate ion, that is an alkali component, then there can be acidosis, isn't it? Now, since CO2 is a respiratory component, we talked about it earlier, so it is respiratory acidosis. All right, so how do we compensate this condition? How do we compensate this? How does our body compensate this? Since there is increase in acidic component, what do you have to do to balance that? As increased acidic component is to increase the basic component, which is obviously this one, bicarbonate ion. So since there is increase in acidic component, you have to increase the basic component up to the same level to counterbalance the increment, isn't it? Now, since HCO3 minus is a metabolic component, it is a metabolic compensation. The same in the bicarbonate ion case. If there is acidosis due to decrease in HCO3 minus or bicarbonate ion, that is decrease in alkali component. Now, how do you, so this is obviously a metabolic acidosis because HCO3 minus is metabolic component. Now, how do we compensate this? By decreasing the acidic component, that is carbon dioxide again. So, how do we decrease the acidic component? This is CO2 that we exhale. So it is a respiratory component. That is why it is respiratory. It has respiratory compensation. Now, we can categorize this metabolic acidosis into two different formats on the simple basis of calculating serum anion gap. What is an anion gap? It is a difference between the positive ions of the body and negative ions of the body. So it is the difference. It is that difference, all right? So if the difference is greater than 12, then it is high anion gap metabolic acidosis. And if it is in the range of 6 to 12, then it is normal anion gap or NAGMA, normal anion gap metabolic acidosis. So the unit of this is obviously milliequivalent per liter. So now, there are very different causes of HAGMA and there were very different causes of NAGMA. Now talking about the causes of HAGMA, there is a very famous mnemonics, that is mod piles, and if you don't know the full form of it, note it down right here. So M is methanol poisoning, U is uremia, D is diabetic ketoacidosis, P is paraldehyde poisoning, I is iron or isoniazid overdose, L is lactic acid, E is ethylene glycol poisoning, and S is salicylate poisoning. So these are the conditions that cause HAGMA or high anion gap metabolic acidosis. And for NAGMA, there is another mnemonic, that is fused cars. So if you don't know it already, it is F. So F is fistula. It can be biliary fistula or pancreatic fistula. And U is ureterogastric conduit. All right. So S is saline administration, and in that case also NAGMA happens. And in endocrine causes, for endocrine causes like Addison disease, and D is diarrhea, C is carbonic anhydrase inhibitors, A is ammonium chloride, R is renal tubular acidosis or RTA, and S is spironolactone. All right, so these are the causes of normal anion gap metabolic acidosis. That is how we complete acidosis. All right, now talking about alkalosis, it is the counterpart isn't it? It is a counterpart of acidosis. Now, to categorize this alkalosis, we also now take two components, that is carbon dioxide and again bicarbonate ion. So alkali component is increasing in the body, or acidic component is decreasing in the body to cause the alkalosis. So since CO2 is an acidic component, it has to decrease to cause the alkalosis, isn't it? Now, and since SCO3 minus or bicarbonate is alkali component or basic component, it has to increase to cause the alkalosis. So it is very common logic, very simple logic, isn't it? So since CO2 is respiratory component, it is respiratory alkalosis. And then how do we compensate this? Again, we have to decrease the bicarbonate ion, isn't it? Since there is decrease in acidic component, we have to decrease the basic component also to counterbalance, to equalize the thing, isn't it? So since again SO3 minus bicarbonate ion is a metabolic component, it has metabolic compensation. Now SO3 minus is increasing in the other cases, and since it is metabolic component, it is a case of metabolic alkalosis. And how do we counterbalance this? We have to obviously increase the acidic component. Since there is increment in the basic component, that is SCO3 minus, we have to increase the acidic component, that is CO2, to counterbalance the same reason, to equalize the same, isn't it? So since CO2 is a respiratory component, it has respiratory compensation. So that is all. This is a simple flowchart that you have to remember, that you have to understand to understand arterial blood gas analysis. This is it. So please subscribe, and thank you for staying with me. Please subscribe if you want more. Thank you.